Title of the first section today is Simplify Exponents. First question is 3a b to the 0 power. Simplifying this, the 3, if it does not have an exponent, would stay the same. The a also does not have an exponent, so that would stay the same. And b to the 0, if you remember from previous lessons, anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. So the 0 exponent only goes to the b, it does not go to the a or the 3. And we have 3a times 1, so our final answer would just be 3a. Second question is 5x to the negative 4 power. Simplifying again, the 5 does not have an exponent, so the 5 would stay the same. From the previous section, anytime we have negative exponents, we can make a fraction for our answer. And if we have a negative exponent, we can put this term on the bottom of the fraction. So x would go to the denominator, and instead of negative 4, we'll have positive 4 for the exponent. So negative exponents we can take the reciprocal of and change. X to the 4th cannot be simplified, so our final answer is 5 over x to the 4th. Next question, 1 over x to the negative 7 power. Like the previous question, we have a negative exponent. This time the negative exponent is already on the bottom of the fraction. If we have a negative exponent in the denominator or bottom of the fraction, we can move that to the top of the fraction. So x to the negative 7 would change, moving to the top of the fraction, x to the positive 7. If you want to, you can put it over 1, or the final answer would just be x to the 7th. And next question, x to the negative 5 power and y to the negative 7th power. Simplifying, again, anytime you have negative exponents, we can write our answer using a fraction. If we have x to the negative 5, we can move that to the denominator or bottom of the fraction and change it x to the positive 5. Same thing with y to the negative 7, we can move that to the denominator and change it to a positive 7. If there's no other numbers or no terms on top of the fractions, we can always add a 1. So our final answer is 1 over x to the 5th, y to the 7th. And last question for the section, 8 over 2 c to the negative 3 power. Simplifying first, if we have two numbers without exponents, 8 and 2, we can divide each of those. 8 divided by 2 would be 4. And the negative exponent, if the negative again is on the bottom of the fraction or denominator, we'll switch that to the top of the fraction or the numerator, which would be next to the 4. So instead of c to the negative 3, we can change that c to the positive 3. So our final answer would be 4c to the 3rd power or 4c cubed. Title of the last section today is Evaluating Exponents. In this section, we'll evaluate exponents given values. The directions: evaluate, when x equals -3 and y equals 5. So for the following problems, we'll be able to use the value x equals -3 and y equals 5. First question is y to the -2 power. Solving this one, we can first plug in the value. If y equals 5, we can change y to the -2, plugging a 5 in, which would be 5 to the -2 power. Solving from here, anytime we have a negative exponent, we can make a fraction. 5 to the -2, we can write in the denominator as 5 to the +2, and then we can add a 1 for the numerator. And our final answer, 5 to the second power, or 5 squared, would be 25. So our final answer would be 1 over 25. Second question is y to the second power, x to the -3 power. And again, the first step, we can plug in numbers for x and y. Y is equal to 5, so we'll have 5 to the second power, or 5 squared. X is equal to -3. It's a good idea to put parentheses around numbers when they're negative, so you can keep them separated. And also to the -3 power. Solving from here, 5 to the second power would be 5 times itself 2 times, or 5 times 5. That'd be 25. And negative exponents again, we can make a fraction. The -3 we can write for the denominator. And the exponent, -3, we'll put for the denominator, but when we change it, it'll change to a +3. So our final answer, 25, would stay the same, over -3 to the third power would be -3 times itself 3 times. -3 times -3 would be +9, and 9 times a -3 would be -27. So our final answer would be 25 over -27. And last question for the section. 5, x to the third power, y to the -1 power. And again, using the same values as before, we can rewrite the question. 5, x is -3 to the third power, and y is 5 to the -1 power. Simplifying from here, the first 5 does not have an exponent, so stay the same. The next number, -3 to the third power, we can multiply that out. -3 times itself 3 times would be -27. And 5 to the -1 power, the negative exponents again, we can make a fraction for our answer. And the 5 would go to the denominator, and the -1 would become +1, or you can also leave it off, since 5 to the first power would be 5. Solving from here, if you want to, you could multiply 5 times -27 and then divide by 5. Or if we want to, we can divide first or cancel the 5's. 5 divided by 5, and we're left with our answer, which is -27.